Bitcoin is not smooth jazz. Bitcoin is punk rock. Deal with it. It is disruptive. And the reason it is disruptive is precisely why it's so difficult to swallow and swaddle in traditional investment terms. Bitcoin is the first completely decentralized transnational platform for exchanging value. It has no borders. It doesn't care whether you like the transaction or not. It is entirely based on mathematical verifiability. It is the internet, unleashed, unvarnished, unpolished, and uncensorable. And if you can't swallow that pill, there's a startup out there that's going to take that innovation and is going to disrupt your industry.
This is 100% true about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the internet. Bitcoin is going to be the money of the internet, and it's going to have a lot of disruption while we go through this adoption curve. And as you see here, this is not just one speech. These are thousands of speeches that's happening on a monthly basis, yearly basis, trying to educate the masses about Bitcoin. We're going through an adoption curve. The floodgates are about to open for the big boys to come and play. Once that spot ETF passes, and you have, Fidelity, the BlackRocks of the world offering Bitcoin to their institutional grade clients, this is going to be catastrophic to the upside in a positive way for Bitcoin adoption. So hope you're ready. You see what's going on behind the scenes. And with that, what's happening, crypto crew? Sean's going back at you, another cryptocurrency video. And everybody's been talking about Bitcoin. Right now, you're seeing more talks about Bitcoin about a year outside the halving. We're about 8-9 months away, but we're still hearing more and more talks about it because we're going through an adoption curve. Is being considered a viable asset when it comes to one's diversification in their portfolio. But as you see here, check this clip out here. Talks are still being had.
Today, we're going to zero in on crypto, which has outperformed even some of the most high-flying parts of the market this year.
So it's definitely a pivotal moment for the crypto sector. A crucial federal court ruling could stifle efforts by SEC Chairman Gary Gensler to wrangle what he calls the Wild West of trading. A judge in New York has cast doubt on whether the SEC has a clear path to regulate most altcoins as securities. That ruling, largely viewed as a net win for altcoin traders who feared an imminent crackdown from regulators, as well as for Coinbase, which faces its own legal battle with the SEC. The top 100 digital assets are up 48% this year, compared to 17% for stocks and 9% for gold. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is outperforming the NASDAQ 100, as are crypto-pegged stocks like Coinbase, Galaxy Digital, and MicroStrategy. But Bitcoin can't seem to break out from the $30,000 price level. One reason being there isn't much investor interest. We're seeing some support from institutions, but there's no real catalyst to drive the price either higher or lower. Things that would normally affect Bitcoin, such as the Fed raising rates, are barely moving the needle. What the market appears to need is a return of confidence from retail and institutional investors. That could potentially happen if an ETF that directly tracks the spot price of Bitcoin is approved. Some of the biggest names in TradFi are racing to be the first to offer one, including BlackRock. Now, if spot ETFs get the green light, they could spur a buying spree as firms purchase Bitcoin to meet reserve requirements. We're also seeing movement on crypto legislation on Capitol Hill. And crucially, Frank, there is a technical event called the Halvening coming up next April, which typically marks the start of a bull run for Bitcoin.
You see the Bitcoin halving clock estimated to be around April 17th, 263 days, a little less than a year. But as you see, Bitcoin is gaining momentum, gaining steam. As you see in this clip here, they're talking about federal regulation getting in place, the big boys coming to play with the spot ETF, and also the Bitcoin halving. Excitement is swirling up around the crypto space. How high can Bitcoin blast off this next bull run? $100,000 is definitely in the cards, but how high will we go? 150, 200, 250? Time will definitely tell. And as you see, presidential candidates are also getting into the space and also talking about Bitcoin. Robert Kennedy says he proposes Bitcoin to be back with the dollar, and he's also buying it himself. He bought his kids some Bitcoin a few days ago, so this is definitely a huge change and mix up in the crypto space. And then taking a look at some technical indicators, you see that after every downtrend, what happens? There's a downtrend that we break out of, and then we come in and range before we blast out, retest, and blast up. Downtrend, we break out of, come down, range before a blast up. Downtrend, break out of, come out, range. That blast up's going to happen in due time. Next year or two is definitely going to get really bullish, so make sure your seatbelts are strapped. And the exchange inflow, spent outflow value bands on all exchanges, there's not really seeing Bitcoin inflows into any exchanges, meaning whales are hodling. They're not sending to exchanges to sell off. So as you see, we're just stair-stepping our way up as far as the price action, and then this decreasing value. Once this thing pops, that's when the price falls. But now the supply is getting suppressed. So this is definitely a bullish indication. And where we can see Bitcoin coming up, looking at the monthly, we see that Bitcoin comes down, retests, and then blasts up and closes back above the 50% level, closes back above the 50% level. We haven't got to close back above the 50% level yet, that 32.6 level, so that could be in the cards. We're almost there. We're knocking at the door. So Bitcoin could come back above this, wick above it, as it did here and here in previous cycles, and then have that retracement go into the halving before the ultimate blast off. And here's one fun fact. Once Bitcoin surpasses the gold market cap, it'll be worth 630K. When do you think this will happen? Will this happen after this halving, after the 2028 halving, 2032 halving? Let us know your thoughts below. And without further ado, let's hear from Greg Foss. He's talking about the markets and what's going on with Bitcoin and crypto. Let's hear what Greg has to say.
I believe that every portfolio in the world needs an allocation to Bitcoin because of the certainty of fiat debasement. Now, interestingly, today, when you sent around some questions that people wanted to ask, well, then, Foss, why Bitcoin and not this other thing? And I don't even know what other proof of work coin somebody brought up. Never heard of it. And the simple answer is, first of all, Bitcoin has first mover advantage. Secondly, and most importantly, it is the most secure digital asset, defended by the strongest computer network in the world and defined by its 21 million supply of Bitcoin. So you might say, well, I'm going to start this other coin. It's also proof of work, but it's only got 2.1 million coins. It's therefore more scarce and therefore better than Bitcoin. No, it's not, because in order to transfer value over this network, you need security of the network. And I might have a portion of these 2.1 million coins of this quasi new Bitcoin. The network's nowhere near as secure. Like, I just wouldn't invest my money into that protocol for the same risk return advantages of Bitcoin and the security that it offers. So Bitcoin's the only digital asset that protects me against the fiat Ponzi.